Well, today, President Trump made good on his promise to try and roll back cashless bail with two executive orders. One focused on the district and threatening to withhold federal funding if it does not end the policy. Another executive order calls for the Attorney General to compile a list of states and jurisdictions that have eliminated cash bail. And in 30 days, the government will start to withhold federal funding from those places. Here's how the president described cashless bail today.
Somebody kills somebody, they go in, don't worry about it, no cash, come back in a couple of months, we'll give you a trial. You never see the person again. And I mean, they kill people and they get out. Cashless bail. They thought it was discriminatory to make people put up money because they just killed 3 people lying on a street.
Let's begin with what cashless bail is and what it isn't. This is a system of release for people who have not been tried and have the presumption of innocence under our justice system. A judge must decide they meet certain criteria, are not a threat to the public, and are eligible for pretrial supervision by an officer. In a cash system, these people would have to pay for release. So if you can't afford bail, you stay in jail. In 1992, D.C. was one of the first cities to use cashless bail policy, saying that a bail system that required all people to pay for pretrial release was discriminatory for poor folks. And this is something that D.C. has been doing for quite some time now in communities. I spoke with one organization that has been studying pretrial justice and had this to say about cashless bail impacts.
The reason why our country has been moving generally toward looking at ways for people to be released from the court system, from jails without money is because what we realize is that cash bail is really a poverty test, and that it's not an examination of whether someone is a danger to the community or whether they're going to come back to court, which are really the two main purposes of the pretrial system, and that people were being held simply because they couldn't afford to post bail.
D.C. statute is not a completely cashless bond system. There are some instances where people who are released and are considered flight risks may have to pay a bond, but people who are considered a threat to the public are typically held in jail. Here's how Mayor Muriel Bowser explained what's working in D.C. when asked about the president's executive order today.
What has worked for us, which is why we are experiencing the record reduction in crime that we have been for the last 2 years, is an expansion of pretrial detention that requires judges to hold certain offenders or certain people, who have been accused, to hold them pretrial. And I frankly think that that has worked better than any system.
Now, there are studies and reports that support the use of cashless bail. According to one by the Brennan Center's Justice Program, cities that have cashless bail have consistently had lower crime rates, and people are showing up for court. It's part of the reason that between 2017 and 2021, 20 cities created bail reform. More than a dozen jurisdictions have ended money bail altogether. Those cities are now the focus of this administration.
Tracy, as you know, today we heard the president give examples of people here in D.C. and around the country who he says has committed crimes while they are on cashless bail. What are you hearing from people, the experts, say about this?
Yeah, we were asking about this. The bottom line is the data we reviewed from D.C. pretrial services show that in 2023, less than 1% of people accused of violent offenses and on pretrial supervision were arrested for an additional violent offense here in the district. No system is perfect, but D.C. officials say there are benefits to the cashless bail system. We'll have to see how the city is going to respond to this executive order, but I can tell you that we saw cities follow D.C.'s lead. So this is going to have a chilling effect on something that some folks would argue have really helped the poor folks in our community to be able to stay out of jail, go to work, take care of their families, and do all the things before they have a trial. So.
Right, those statistics also tell a story. All right, Tracy Wilkins, thank you.